What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about intermittent fasting, okay? I'm going to cover what exactly is intermittent fasting, does it work, and how does it work, who should do it, who should not do it, and I'm going to give you my personal opinion, my thoughts on intermittent fasting as a whole, all right? So let's dive into the video. All right, first and foremost, what is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting is basically just restricting the time windows you are allowing yourself to eat. So like for example, a 16-8. What you would do is, this is one form of an intermittent fast. There's many different forms. There's 12-12. There's, some people intermittent fast for 20 hours. There's many different forms you can go to. But let's talk about 16-8 for example. You fast for 16 hours and you have an 8-hour eating window, okay? So maybe you start eating later in the day. Maybe you push back your breakfast and push back your lunch a bit later in the day. So you're only eating from, let's say, 12 noon to 8 p.m. at night. That would be a form of intermittent fasting. So really all intermittent fasting is just simply restricting the time window you are allowing yourself to eat. And I really don't want to overcomplicate it because that's really all intermittent fasting is. So now let's talk about, does it work and how does it work? So instead of saying, does it work, I'm going to say, can it work? And yes, it can work. But it's not because of any magic. It's not because of any magical pill or some secret formula to weight loss. It's simply because when you restrict the time windows you are eating food, for some people, you are only going to be able to eat so many calories during that time window. It helps them limit the calories they are intaking, which, if you know anything about me and this channel, the only way to lose weight is to eat less calories than what your body burns, is to eat in a calorie deficit. Intermittent fasting can help you get into that calorie deficit because it is restricting the time windows you are allowing yourself to eat. So if you skip breakfast, for example, that may be cutting out 300, 400, 500, 700 calories in your day to help you get into a calorie deficit. So can it work? Yes, it can work. And how does it work? Like I just said, you're restricting the time windows you are eating, so the idea is you're only able to eat so many calories during that time window. But here's the thing. Just because it can work doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Now, I will say this. I know plenty of people who love fasting, and I know people who do not love fasting. There's both sides of the coin here. This is why you need to decide for yourself if this is going to be right for you. So let's talk about now who should do it and who should not do it. So, in my opinion, who should do it and who should not do it? I think anybody can do intermittent fasting. I think that it is definitely up for you to decide. Again, most of this fitness space is normally like you have to do this or you have to do that or there's only one way to do something. There's a million ways to get the job done. It's just what is going to be right for you. So I will say anybody can try fasting for sure. I would absolutely say that. But here's what I will say. If you are somebody who has struggled with binge eating or any disordered eating, sometimes, and this is not for everybody, but sometimes intermittent fasting can bring that back upon because you think that, okay, I only have 6 hours to eat, so I'm going to eat everything in those 6 hours. I'm going to try to get as much as I can in those 6 hours. And it may start to cause this cycle of restricting and then binging, restricting and then binging, all because you're restricting the time you're allowed to eat. So for somebody like that who may have struggled with that in the past, intermittent fasting may not be the best route for you. And now again, this is totally individual, but if you have struggled with that in the past or any other disordered eating, I would just take a second thought about if this may be right for you. On top of that, sometimes athletes, I would not recommend to do intermittent fasting. Or just people who are in the gym and wanting to have solid, good workouts. Because there has been some research shown that if you eat more frequently throughout the day, you have more nutrients coming into your body throughout the day, that is going to be more advantageous for you and your workouts. You're going to have better energy, which is going to lead to better workouts, which is going to lead to better strength gains, better muscle gains, better results, better change in your body. So for someone like that, for an athlete, I may not recommend it as well. Again, there are people who do intermittent fasting who are athletes, that's totally okay as well. But just from my personal experience, from my personal knowledge, from what I know, from what I've coached people through, I would not recommend intermittent fasting for probably somebody with a binge eating, disordered eating habit, or somebody who is an athlete or looking to perform well inside the gym. So now that we covered who is it for and who's it not for, I'm going to give you my honest thoughts on intermittent fasting. So you know how it works, you know what it is, you know who should and who should not do it. Now let's cover my thoughts. In my honest opinion, would I recommend intermittent fasting? Again, I think it would very much depend. I know people who like it and love it. I know people who have tried it and they've hated it. It's a very dependent thing. What I will say this, it is not necessary to lose weight. There is no magic to intermittent fasting that is going to help you lose weight. There's no secret to intermittent fasting that's going to help you lose weight, because the only way you are going to lose weight is to eat in a calorie deficit. You could eat 2 meals a day, or you could eat 69 meals a day. As long as you are in a calorie deficit, you are going to lose body fat. That is how your body works. Which, by the way, if you want to know how many calories to eat to lose weight, I'm going to link a video right here that's going to take you to my fat loss calorie calculator. Completely free, so don't worry about that. Simply click the link right here and it'll head right to it. But beyond that, I cannot stress this enough. There's nothing special about intermittent fasting. There's nothing special about any of these diets, to be very honest with you. The only way you're going to lose weight is to be in a calorie deficit. Intermittent fasting does this by restricting the time windows you eat to allow you to possibly eat less calories. For some people it can backfire. I've talked to plenty of people and I've coached plenty of people who have tried fasting and they didn't work for them because they just ate everything during that time window. They were not conscious of what they were eating, or they just felt so restricted that when they did eat, they wanted to make sure they ate as much as they could. So it's a balance game and you have to find out what works best for you. I will say this about intermittent fasting as well. For some people, if you continuously skip breakfast, that may be fine for you. I know plenty of people who skip breakfast and they love it. They don't mind it at all. But for some people, if you do not eat a lot during the day and you get to the nighttime, some people are overly starving since they haven't eaten during the day, so they're super hungry at night. So that can easily lead you to overeat and go outside of your calorie deficit. So in this instance, intermittent fasting would not be beneficial for that individual because it's not going to allow you to stay in your calorie deficit because you're so hungry by the time this comes around. So what's the main point here? It is totally individual. Find if it works for you. There's nothing special about it. There's no magic about it. Find what works for you. If you want to try it, sure. If not, that's okay too. As long as you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. So I hope this video broke down intermittent fasting for you in a very simple layman's term. Again, I don't like to overcomplicate it because it's not that complicated. The only thing that you are looking to do is get into a calorie deficit. As long as you do that, you will lose weight. There's plenty of forms, plenty of ways to get there, but as long as you get there, you are going to lose weight. So if this video helped you, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe. If you know somebody who's been asking about intermittent fasting, feel free to send them to this video right here. This is probably one of the most, if not the most common question I get on my TikToks or Instagrams, which by the way, if you haven't followed me there, please go follow me there. But it's the most common question I get. And I think that people think that there's some special magic to it. There's no special magic to it. It's just one way to get you into a calorie deficit, all right? Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. We will talk soon. Thank you so much.